back to the channel. And if you know me, you probably know I really love A Song of Ice and Fire. And like every fan of A Song of Ice and Fire, my most anticipated release is going to be The Winds of Winter. We've all been waiting for this book for so long. Some of us longer than others. Some of us have been waiting well over a decade for this book, and some of us maybe 5, 6 years. But at the end of the day, if you've read the books, we're all waiting for Winds of Winter. But the thing is, with A Song of Ice and Fire, we're talking about several million words in length for a series. So it's not always feasible to just keep rereading it every couple of years because it is so long. So my idea is this. I'm going to put forward a series of short videos that really serve as a primer for the Winds of Winter. It really just lets you know what's the state of the world, what the state of the characters currently, where are they, and what we expect them to be doing. So what I'll plan to do is put out a quick video today just about the world, what the current state of the world is, and then from there I will kind of bunch characters by house initially, and then I'll do a character roundup at the end of that, and then we'll do a series of videos around kind of what we expect to happen. So some of the theories and the crazy rabbit holes people have gone down to over the years, in the kind of like 12+ years people have been waiting for the next installment of this series. So hopefully that'll be fun for you. We're going to call it like Winds of Winter Wednesdays. So every Wednesday from now on, I will release a video building up to the Winds of Winter release. Let's hope it's the end of this year. Otherwise, this is going to be a redundant series quite quickly. But at least it'll be there for everyone for when that comes round. So in this first episode, we're going to talk about Essos and Westeros and their current state. But first, we're going to go back to the start. What did these worlds look like initially? I'm going to call this period of time the long summer, because we know this is the end of the long summer. Now, in the north, we had the Starks of Winterfell, and all the houses basically were given fealty to them. In the Riverlands, it was being run by the Tullys. The Arryns were still in the Vale, and the Greyjoys really controlled the Iron Islands, and they had been subdued since the rebellion. In the south, the Baratheons held the Stormlands and the Crownlands, obviously because a Baratheon was on the throne. In the Westerlands, the Lannisters still ruled from Castle Rock, the Tyrells still ruled the Reach, and the Martells ruled Dorne. At this time, Essos was completely untouched by Daenerys, so the plutocracies and aristocracies of the Free Cities and the chieftain of Vaes Dothrak were all still in place and were running, kind of counter to everything we knew in the books at the time. So by the end of A Dance with Dragons, I'm going to call this time period Winter is Coming. Places that were kind of mostly unchanged still were the loyalist areas. So the Lannisters in the Westerlands still had a pretty good grip of those. Tyrells had aligned themselves with the new Baratheon monarchy, and so they still had the Reach pretty much under wraps. The Crownlands the same. Arryns were still in the Vale, and they pretty much had that locked down. Apart from the power dynamic has changed to some extent now that Peter Baelish is there. And Dorne. Well, the Great Dornish Conspiracy is ongoing, but the Martells have a tenuous grip still on Dorne. Now, areas that are really in turmoil, one is the Riverlands. So the Riverlands should really be being controlled by Peter Baelish, who was given Harrenhal, or by the Freys. But even though the Freys have lots of men, they are a very ill-disciplined force. So basically, Baelish and Walder Frey are literally kept in power in the Riverlands by the Lannister army at the moment. And that looks like a not necessarily stable location in the world at the moment, as is the north. So at the very top of the north by the wall, we have Stannis, and he has an army. We don't know where that army is at the moment, but Stannis has an army, and he is forcing people to react to him up there. The north is supposed to be being mostly controlled by the Boltons, who are backed up by the Karstarks. But obviously the Karstarks got rumbled towards the end of the series. So we're not quite sure how well that's going to work out for the Boltons, especially considering the Great Northern Conspiracy, which we will cover in a later video as well. And then I think the real kind of unknown factor there is, firstly, the Greyjoys. The Greyjoys still have pockets of men operating in the area under Euron, Victorian, and Usher, even though they are mostly trying to sail towards Essos and kind of deal with Daenerys and their plans with her. And also in the Stormlands, we know that young Griff, or Aegon the Pretender, has landed with the Golden Company or parts thereof, and therefore the Stormlands may not be as secure as we once thought. So that kind of wraps up episode 1 of our primer for Winds of Winter. join me next Wednesday for episode 2 of the Winds of Winter primer. It'll be House Stark next. It'll be a longer video. There are a lot of characters to cover and a lot of in-depth kind of study of where are they, what is their status, what is their location. So yeah, join me next Wednesday and we'll continue priming ourselves for the Winds of Winter.